Welcome to a new look on Duolingo. We redesigned the home screen to better guide you through lessons. Follow a path crafted by our learning experts to help you better reach your goals and learn with confidence. Our popular short stories are now built into the path rather than a separate tab. You'll find a guidebook at the start of each unit, packed with grammar tips and useful phrases. And don't worry, we kept all the progress you made so far. So head to the path and take the next step on your learning journey. Welcome to a new look on Duolingo. We redesigned the home screen to better guide you through lessons. Follow a path crafted by learning experts to help you better reach your goals and learn with confidence. Our popular short stories are now built into the path rather than a separate tab. You'll find a guidebook at the start of each unit, packed with grammar tips and useful phrases. And don't worry, we kept all the progress you made so far. So head to the path and take the next step on your learning journey. Welcome to a new look on.
Hello guys, I'm Tactical Clips and in this video I'm going to tell you about my opinion of the new Duolingo update and of course the new home screen. So let's get started. Let's start with what I think has actually been improved upon. So as you can see, there are new animations on the home screen, which I think are pretty nice. However, this will also be one of the points that is worse in the new update. So it is also good and it is also bad. So the animations are nice. There are new exercises about us about its like comprehension, and we actually need to understand it, like what is the context, what is the person asking, what are they lacking in, which I really think is nice. And it's really nice that they are moving away from all of the translate the sentence and translate that sentence kind of stuff, which I really like. What else do I like? I like that for the people who are struggling, like which lesson should I do, when should I do that lesson, when should I do a story. So now they've actually taken it into account and created their home screen. Literally, they have created the new home screen on the basis that we need to follow this path and there are no diversions from it. So again, this is a point that is both good and bad. So the people who have been struggling with the tree, they have gotten what they want, which I think is really good for them. They get what they want. They get an upgrade to their learning. So I'm pretty sure that is all that I think is good with the update. And compared to all of the criticisms I have with it, this update is just not good. I recognize that it has advantages. I'm not saying that it isn't good. Like, I'm not saying it isn't good at all, but the disadvantages really outweigh these advantages. So, without any further ado, let us get started with the disadvantages. The first one is that people are complaining about the straight path. I told you, people really love the straight path or they hate it. And personally, I'm one of the people who hate it. I liked in the old tree that we could just do whatever lesson we want. And one example is that I'm currently doing like the German course. And in German, there's this lesson in the beginning about questions. And you just need to translate a bunch of sentences asking, Was ist dein Beruf? Which is, what is your profession? And wo leben Sie? So it's like, where do you live? And it's a bit annoying because we need to translate these questions and just translate it again and again and again and again for 24 lessons in a row, which I think is really not good. So in the old tree, we could just skip that lesson. When I don't want to do that lesson, I could just skip it. Now, for example, there is another topic called languages, and I really like learning the German names for all of the languages and countries. So I'm currently focusing on that, even though languages is ahead of the questions. And whenever I get motivation to do the questions chapter, I just do like one lesson or two lessons, but I can concentrate on which lesson I like, that being languages. So that was the benefit of the old tree. Now with the new path, that is basically all gone. There is just this one path. You need to follow it, you need to follow it, you need to follow it until it ends. there is no choice for you. Either you need to follow the path or you don't learn the language at all, which I really think is a bit stupid. They should not take away all of the freedom. One more thing that I have a problem with is that the lessons aren't very themed. Like, they are mostly general lessons. I know general lessons can be good for learning a language, but sometimes you just want to learn about the topic. Like, for example, in the old tree, as I've given you the example, languages, so I want to learn about all of the names of the languages. What do you call them in German? But in the new course, everything is jumbled. For example, the questions might come in the same lesson that is the language question. I realize that some people, they just want to study general, but for people like me, they want to micromanage one topic and they just want to like go very ahead in it. For them, the new system can be a bit demotivating. Is that the chapters that you don't want to study right now, they are coming as questions and you need to do them if you want to progress. I know that is healthier in the long term, like getting rid of all of these hatred for the chapters and stuff, and that is exactly what the school does. You need to study it or else you won't be able to progress, you'll fail the exam. But the whole point of Duolingo is that it doesn't force you to follow one path. You can learn whatever you want with that, provided that it isn't too advanced or you can't access it. So you can learn whatever you want in whatever order you want, and that was a big strength of Duolingo for me. And unfortunately, now they have just taken it away, which I think is really a bit sad. Yeah, that is also my problem. Is that all of the lessons are jumbled up, and it's mostly like a big confusing mess. You're learning too much at the same time, and it can be quite overstimulating. One more thing with the home screen redesign is that if you see the old home screen and the new home screen, you might see the difference is that the new home screen feels so empty. One more benefit of the home screen design, you can say, is that all of these animations are there of the characters, which I think are really cute. They're really nice. They are good to look at. It's really interesting to see the characters doing something. Sometimes it's comedy, like for example, this character is holding a mushroom over fire, and a mushroom starts burning, and all of that. It's comedic, so it's pretty good. I'm not saying that animations on the side are bad, but how do I say this? To make space for the animations, they had to reduce the actual spaces where we click the lessons to like these small tiles, and the rest of it is just like either the small animation or just blank screen. There's like this blankness in the path, so much wasted space. And yeah, because they don't use the horizontal space in the screen at one time, they need to make it so that the screen extends vertically so far. You need to see the screen. See if you can actually scroll down it in 20 seconds. If you can't, then it's a bit demotivating. Even 20 seconds is demotivating because you need to just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you see all that you need to do, and you're like, oh no, how am I supposed to do this? I can't do this. So that is the problem, because of all of the animations, and because the screen is blank, and because of the paths, they are too small. So you get this huge demotivation problem. You need to scroll so much. One more thing is how they represent that you finished a lesson or step of a unit. In the old tree, there used to be these circles, and whenever you finish 6 lessons, so if you finish one lesson in that circle, then a part of the circle gets golden. So it fills up, and as soon as you do 6 lessons, then a crown at the end of the circle fills up, and the gold outer circle, it disappears. So you finished one crown. Because the icons are so big, you can see, oh my god, I finished this one crown. And it is really easy to just calculate the number of lessons that you did, and it's very motivating. And as soon as you finish one crown, the entirety of the circle, which is basically the entirety of the unit or lesson, it changes color, so you know that you did something great. But in the path, it's just like one small tile in that whole bunch of tiles, it becomes golden. And to make that one tile golden, you need to do 6 lessons. Somebody can get really, really, really demotivated. It's like they did 6 lessons, and this one small tile in hundreds of tiles it lights up. One more thing is that they added extra lessons. I mean, yes, it's good to practice, but there are so many extra lessons that you get demotivated. So there's a whole demotivation problem. And on the Duolingo YouTube channel you can see Ananya Rajgiriya. She's like a software engineer at Duolingo, and she basically in duocon 2022 she has a section that she tells us about the new Duolingo home screen. And in one in like a few moments of it, they're like all of these features make Duolingo better for learning. Like she's pushing us very forcefully into like it's better for learning, it's scientifically proven, you need to accept it, kind of way, which I think it's really you should give us the choice, you should give us a choice. One more thing is about the stories. Now, I really like the stories on Duolingo. The way I process the stories, it's like one day you just open the app and you're like, I don't want to do a lesson. I don't want to translate a few sentences. You just go over to the stories tab and you see how the words are actually used in a real life setting, or you can say like a fictional real life setting, but still a real life setting. So you can see how they are used. You can also maybe learn a new words that can actually be used. It's not like um, he is a man, she is a woman type of thing. You'll never see that in real life. But in the stories, you can actually learn phrases or words that you can use in daily life, like at the airport. In the Neha, Dathuibin, like that. In the Neha is nearby, Dathuibin is over there. So yeah, you can actually learn stuff that can be used in real life. I'm not saying that the lesson stuff cannot be used in real life, but stories, it is more directly applied. So what did they do with the stories? uh, as I process it, stories are basically like one day you don't want to do any lessons, you can just do a short story, you can enjoy the story, and then that counts towards your streak. So you're like, yes, today I'll do a nice short story. And that is the whole point of the story, is that you don't need to do a lesson before the story or after the story. Now I know in the old tree you needed a specific number of crowns to unlock a story, but when you reach the number of crowns, it unlocked like 4 stories. So of course you aren't going to finish those 4 stories in one day, or you might finish them in one day, but you unlock so many stories that you forget what you already did, and so it's good to revisit them even though you have unlocked a comparatively less number of stories. Now what the new update does is that the stories are integrated into the new path. So there is no stories tab now, and you need to actually unlock the stories in the path to do that story. And every time you unlock a story, it's just a singular story and not a bunch of stories, which I think, how did anyone think of this? The whole point of the stories is that you don't want to do lesson, so you do a story instead, or you do a story and then you're warmed up to lessons and then you do the lesson. But the way that they have done it is that for example, if you want to do a story, then either you have not unlocked it and you need to force yourself through some lessons to actually get to that story, or you are in the mood to do some lessons and then the story gets unlocked and you need to forcibly do the story to progress to the next lesson. So it's like you need to do this before you progress. Again, it's the choice thing. If you don't want to do a story in the old layout, you could just not do it, you could leave the stories tab completely. Also, if you wanted to do a story, you could just revisit a story that you already did instead of doing a lesson. So that is another problem with the path. And also, when you unlock a story, it just unlocks one story, so it's a bit underwhelming that you have worked through 6 lessons, 12 lessons, and then you get this like one measly story. So that is quite underwhelming. Also, one thing that doesn't affect me that much is that people are complaining that the legendary levels have one life instead of 3 lives. So basically, legendary levels are like, if you don't have super Duolingo, then you need to like pay some 10 gems or lingots or whatever currency, and then you have 3 hearts and you can finish the questions without getting your hearts to zero. If you finish them, then you get legendary status on one of your units. I personally don't strive to complete the legendary ones, so I don't really care. But people are like, Duolingo is reducing the number of hearts from three to one. This Duolingo is like, don't make a mistake. So there are two directions where they can take. Is that either the person will get demotivated from doing legendaries, or they will just keep spending their money on legendaries. And I think this is a bit weak argument, because you don't need to spend money on gems. Only the people in the gaming industry or any like gamified industry, they are called whales who dump their money into the video games. And basically that is how the video game companies profit, excluding from the advertisements and all that. And personally, I think spending money on gems is stupid. You can just complete the course without legendaries. But the people who argue this, they're like, Duolingo is forcing us to dump money into gems or spend a lot of gems to finish all of the legendaries. Because of course, if you have one heart, then you have. If you even make one mistake, then you need to pay again to do that, which I think is a bit of a weaker argument, because you don't need to finish the legendaries, but it's an argument nevertheless. So, what is my final view on this? It is that Duolingo, your new path, is helping people, but it is displeasing a lot more people than it's helping. So I really hope that you listen to your community and you actually revert to the old path, or you can just give us the choice of reverting to the old path. Now, there are two things that I need to say more. Is that duocon has been uploaded on YouTube, and a separate segment has been uploaded on YouTube, where Ananya Rajgharia, she talks about the new Duolingo home redesign. And at the start of the video, she asks us to close our eyes and remember why we started learning on Duolingo in the first place. And at the end of the video, she says that the new path will help you achieve this goal. And I saw this hilarious comment in the comment section. The person said that the reason he wanted to learn on Duolingo is that you actually had a choice to learn what you wanted, and you didn't need to follow a singular path. And at the end, when she says that this singular no choice path will help you, his dreams got crushed. So that is an extremely hilarious comment. I'll probably be showing it on screen right now so you can see it. And one more thing is that I have found a hack. It's more like using Duolingo schools. It's like an extension of Duolingo. You can connect your account to that, and you can get the old home screen until the end of the year. So I highly recommend checking that out. Links in the description. So that's it, guys, for this review of the new Duolingo update. And I can see you later. If you have any opinions in the comments, then you can post it. Of course, this is just my opinion on the new Duolingo home screen. So that is all, guys. Thank you and goodbye.